You want to get high, man?
Let's stimulate your mind.
Get up, Chucky!
What have we got here? A fucking comedian.
Rojan Kim?
Hello, and welcome to the Rojan Kim cast. It's me. It is I. I know it's grammatically correct to say it is I, Rojan Kim. But it's me, god damn it. I think it's a me. That's a Mario. And I think Mario's a great trendsetter. He's actually probably one of the best role models we've all had. Probably one of the first Italian-American role models, Asian-Italian, Japanese-Italian role models. Kind of a weird throwback to the war, I guess, back in the day when... Wait, were Italy and Japan actually ever allied? Was it just the Nazis? Is it just Nazis and the Italians and then the Nazis and the Japs? Like, did the Japs ever go, we have to unite with the Italians? I guess not. I don't know. Did they even know Italians existed? Like, did they even... like, did they even care about what was going on in Europe? Like, did they understand there was like a Holocaust? And that isn't really the war. We didn't go to the war because of the Holocaust. That's something we found out about after both the Russians and the Americans were like, whoa, right? Of course, on the Japanese side, they were also committing atrocities, not on this industrial scale, but, you know, they had fucking their own death camps and fucking medical experiments. What is that, Unit 731 or some shit? I don't know. All this stuff's out there. Comfort women, you know, a lot of atrocities. Certainly not the same as the mechanized slaughter of 11 million people, 6 million of which were Jews. Controversial to say that. Everybody says 6 million Jews, but you're like, well, I think that count's actually 11. Well, don't want to... That's it. Like I made it 2 minutes, almost 2 minutes without getting canceled. Guys, the Jews are beautiful people. I love that. I myself am basically an honorary Jew, right? I grew up around a bunch of Jews. I mean, in the valley, there's a lot of Jewish people there. Went to all their bar mitzvahs, went to their homes for Seder, and I also have an Asian fetish, just like them, just like the Jews, me and the Jews, yeah, Chinese food. Jesus eats Chinese food on his birthday, okay, by himself. God's not around, Dad's not around, he has to eat him with fucking wooden chopsticks, just crying because Dad said he'd call, and he didn't call, he just sent Chinese food instead, so there you go. That's right, I'm comparing Jesus to a Christmas that I have. Actually, I didn't have that. I would have loved it if my dad had sent Chinese food instead of not being there. Anyways, I don't mean to make you sad. This doesn't make me sad, but does it make you sad? Do I have to be responsible for your feelings now? I suppose so. I mean, am I an edgelord now? Am I on the edge? Is that what's going on? Maybe I'm edgy, right? I'm edgy, talking about my own childhood. Okay, but look. I think, on one hand, I have mixed feelings on the internet, social media, the discourse that's going on it, right? Because, you know, come on, for God's sakes, I'm putting out a podcast, and even if it's only inflicting the most minor of damage to, like, you know, I don't know, I guess now like 50 people, something like that, well under 100 of you, okay, are being subjected, right? Comedy's subjective, and that's why you're being subjected to this, guys. And so I'm of a mixed opinion about how the discourse is on the internet, or just new discourse. And I guess podcasts are cool because they're long form, right? But you can't ever say there's no agenda or anything. Like, all media is propaganda in some form. Otherwise, it's just raw footage, you know, just looking at a bank camera footage, you know, just looking at, or just streams of words. There's no editing, you know. But once the editing starts, you know, it's at worst, it's propaganda, right? Like, I mean, I'm, of course, being fast and loose with my words, right? Like, I don't mean it's literal propaganda, but it's like propagandizing. You can see that is the first step to the last step if you want to get to real government propaganda. This is not an episode about propaganda. This is just an episode about stupid Twitter conversations, right? And why, I don't know. on some level, it is interesting enough for me to talk about just because of the subject, but it's not that interesting. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. I'm mixed. I'm mixed on the level of interest I have on this, which is unfortunate because you have to listen to it. No, that's actually not true. I'm mixed. I'm very interested in it, perhaps too much. And what I'm mixed on is like, how boring is this for others, or how inside baseball, or how whatever. But I just feel like, you know, this is just one example of conversations that I have online, which I think is indicative of why I have no Asian friends. And so there's the Helium in Philly, Helium Comedy Club in Philly, put out, Shane Gillis is headlining at Helium, right? I don't know if it's in Philly. I can't remember now, but yeah, it is. Okay, so he's fucking there, and the Asian dude's like, hey, why don't you take the proceeds of Shane's, you know, the money he makes, and donate it to an Asian American charity, right? And that's fucking, first of all, you're fucking with the guy's money. You want to fuck with the guy? And secondly, it's like, why? Why? Because of what the out of context clip that he did that hurt you? I mean, that's really what it comes down to, right? He's like, he has to pay. That's what this guy's saying. So then I was like, oh yeah? Well, how do you feel about using a phone that's made by exploiting Asian and African children? Like, how do you feel? How do you feel about that? And then he was like, I could ask you the same question, but that isn't the point. Just because you're not Chinese doesn't mean you have to defend him. Have some solidarity, for goodness sakes. Okay? See, so that's what now he's saying. He's appealing to me for my Asianness. The first thing he does. He's like, and he's saying, just because your last name is Kim and you're not Chinese doesn't mean you have to defend him. So he thinks I'm defending him because I'm not Chinese. That's where he's coming from, right? And then he says, have some solidarity, meaning like we as Asians should stick together. So come on, stick to my side. So then I said, look, I'm not the one taking the moral high ground. Asia is a construct, right? I did nothing to become Asian. I work hard at comedy and show solidarity for comedians. You understand? I am showing solidarity. I'm showing solidarity for Shane Gillis as a comic. Not that I'm anywhere near I'm not a headliner. I'm still an open micer. You know what I mean? But I get it. I've been doing this shit almost 9 years. Like, I get what he's doing, and I get how people can misunderstand it. I get all that, and that's why I felt like I had to step in, which is literally nothing. Like Kurt Metzger says, tweeting, the most damage a tweet can do is like a fart. Right? And fart is probably even more damaging. You know, there's a great thing about it. But so these are just two Asian guys farting at each other over the internet, over a device made by tiny Asian kids, okay? And tiny African kids. I know full well, do I have to feel guilty about it? I mean, I eat meat, right? I fucking drive a car, right? My tax dollars go bomb children in Yemen. At this point, how bad should I feel, huh? How bad should diapers I used to shit in have polluted the earth like fucking 40 years ago, okay? And they're still there because they didn't biodegrade. They don't biodegrade. You think those fucking diapers biodegrade? Every one of us has created a literal shit ton of diapers. What, we're supposed to feel, do we feel bad for that too? Do we feel bad for everything? No, you can't feel bad for it all, but you at least can be aware, right? So, dude, I'm with him because he's a comic, right? And then he's like, I'm not taking a moral high ground. I'm just suggesting reparations that Shane could make for his contribution toward a continuing trend toward Asian Americans that get swept under the rug. You're right. I did nothing to become Asian either, and yet I am targeted and harassed. People like you defend, in caps, Shane for saying hurtful things about us as though it doesn't make an impact on the community and the people. Get a grip and good luck with your career. It looks like you need it. So he said, well, look what he's doing. So, right, he's talking about like, we need to stick together. We need to do that. And then he basically tells me, good luck on your career. He gives me a shot. Looks like you need it. Okay. Which I do. I do need help. So if you want, please Venmo me at Rojan Kim. I'll set up a Patreon at some point, but I don't feel like at this point there aren't enough listeners. Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. There's just not that many listeners. Which is why nothing will happen to me. I mean, I could say, let's kill all the chinks. Like or you know, where should we go harder? Where are we gonna go? Where are we going? Kikes? Where are we going? No, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna do it. Yeah, you're gonna make me say the N-word. This fucking Asian guy's making me say the N-word to prove a point when it has nothing to do. Anyways, all I said was, look, I said no can defend because that's a joke, you know, no can defend, right? That's a Miyagi joke. It was a podcast with no malicious intent. If you were hurt, blame Seth Simons for taking the clip. And then afterwards doesn't mention Seth Simons at all. And then he's like I said, he's like, just because he didn't intend to be malicious doesn't mean his actions didn't hurt people. Basic preschool skills, my dude. That's what he's saying about Shane. It's like, just because Shane was on a podcast and somebody else took it out of context doesn't mean Shane himself didn't hurt people, which is the most retarded. I can't respond. So you can't respond to arguments that are retarded. See, here's the thing about debate 101, right? Like, they're just, if you're not in a structured debate, then there's no reason to respond and take up time to retarded things. So I basically said there was no malicious intent to what Shane said because it was in a podcast form. You have to understand the form. You know, I didn't say all of that, but I don't need to. I basically said Seth Simons took the shit out of that's what he did. He took the shit out of context and weaponized it. Instead of addressing that, he's like, no, I was still hurt. That's what he's saying. He's like, I don't care if it was weaponized or taken out of context. There is no context for this. There is no context for that. See, he says there is no context for him to be using that word, Chink, or saying those things, jokes about me and my people. None at all. There's no context for that. So then I was like, all right, this was me setting him up. See, I'm setting him up for this whole time. That's why I asked him about the phones. You know, I blah, blah, blah. So then I was like, you know, so they said, oh yeah, okay, your people, they're your people. So if they're your people, you're hurting them more by having a phone and using computers. If they're your people, why are you playing victim over bad words when there are real heroes in Hong Kong putting their bodies on the line for free speech? Okay. Oh my God. This is me like masturbating to a video of me masturbating to myself. This is what this feels like. But why am I doing this? Because I know some of you, there's a couple, one or two Asian dudes listening to this, just peeking into the mind of madness, wondering, will this be Asian Joker? Some of you are doing that. Others might actually maybe like have an open mind and be like, okay, I get it. Like, you know, understand where I'm coming from, my context of someone who's like, I don't value identity, politics, or tribalism, or like, see, he's appealing to me as an Asian. He's like, just because you're Korean doesn't mean we should we're together, and then you should be on my side. Don't you see? See? And I'm like, oh, okay, so we're all together? If we're all together, then why are you using a fucking phone, right? Because what would be more vulnerable than the Chinese children? And they're Chinese. They're like you. They're little Chinese children. And am I being, you know, they're like, they're not kids. They're not, they're like 16. I mean, 16 is a kid. They're 16. I bet some of them are 15. I bet some of them are 12. You know why it's called an iPhone 11? Because that's how old you have to be to start working at the factory, okay? That's why. 11 is smart enough. You got the tiny fingers, you know what? And the African kids, that's mining work. You know, they're mining for the coltan and the lithium and whatever. They're fucking tiny mines. You have to build the mines smaller because then they could be more stable and you can make more of them. And then who do you send down there? Kiddos. You send little kiddos down there, bring up the minerals, send them to the kids. You can refer to many of my past episodes where I rant and rave about this, but I'm never calling for you to stop using your phone. I'm never calling for the condemnation. You know, because that would be hypocritical. I'm just saying, hey, we should be aware of this just like we're aware of all the bad shit. We do a lot of bad shit to keep up this standard of living. The standard of living that this Asian American gentleman, I will not disparage him, but that he is benefiting off of. That he is using the technology of, on the broken backs of children, saying that Shane Gillis is the bad guy for having said the word chink. In a way that is, I don't even need to, I have to go explain the whole context. It's like he's playing an old-timey guy. It doesn't matter. You have to listen to the whole thing to even get it, okay? So then you should really ask yourself, well, who the fuck took this shit out of context and used it against me, and why am I so insecure that I fucking am triggered about this, right? And of course, the final death knell here for me, for this guy, I'm being so dramatic, but if they're your people, why are you playing victim over bad words when there are real heroes in Hong Kong putting their bodies on the line for free speech? biatch. Okay, right? So think about what I'm saying here. Motherfuckers in Hong Kong have been protesting for months. Months. Okay? What have you done for months? Okay? What have I done for months? Definitely not this podcast. Not every day. You know what I mean? Like stand-up's the closest thing, and fuck, man, I'm not getting the shit kicked out of me by cops, tear gassed, beaten, the fucking gangsters and cops who fucking, agent provocateurs, guys dressed like protesters, beating the shit out of other protesters. It's like fucking chaos. It's war. Have you seen footage of it? It looks like goddamn Braveheart out there. Okay? They're doing that for free speech. They're doing that for free expression, right? They're doing. See, South Park went down, right? Because they criticized China in the mildest possible way, right? Anybody who criticizes China, you're censored. Can't say anything bad about China ever, or else you don't get that Chinese money, that sweet Chinese money. And in Hong Kong, where they used to have things like, Western sort of freedoms, because they were occupied under the British, they're free under British rule, isn't that nice? Now that they're under Chinese rule, they're fucking going apeshit because they can't do the shit. They'll be jailed. They'll be jailed for all of this. They have to wear face fucking disguisers. You know what I'm saying? Like they're going to be jailed for their protesting, which is a form of speech, right? It's protected in the First Amendment in America, right? You got your speech, you got your press, you got your religion, the right to assemble. All covered in the First Amendment, right? All what people in Hong Kong are fucking putting their lives on the line for bodies being broken, children, kids, teenagers, people younger than you and me. Okay, people who should be out there having a great time expressing themselves, right? You, as a free-thinking person, you can agree that children should not be protesting against the government who wants to stifle their speech and oppression and getting the shit kicked out of them. Like, that shouldn't really happen. And so there's this fine young Asian American gentleman, Chinese American, as he wants to be known as, part of his tribe. He identifies with the Chinese. He says they're his people, he didn't really say just Chinese. He's saying my people, Chinks. People in Hong Kong are Chinks. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're all Chinks over there, too. They're not just Chinks here. Chinks everywhere, okay? I'm a Chink to someone who doesn't know I'm a Gook. Whatever, right? So if he cares so much, why would he want to stifle speech? Why would he be against? He's actually on the side of the Chinese government. He's taking the position of the Chinese government by wanting to punish speech. Even though, so he's not trying to stifle it. He doesn't have that power. He would. He would want to. He's the kind of person who would. Commie, okay? That's commie bullshit. You don't fucking do that here. This is fucking America. We won. All right. I'm also, come on. My family's kidnapped by the North Koreans. We don't like commies, okay? I was raised not liking commies. Grew up in Reagan's America. Not into, okay, I'm sure they're nice, but I don't like it when this commie stuff. When I say commie, it's just this, right? He's like, show some solidarity, but only with his side. Show some come over with us. Come do it only, but when it but only when I point out the logical inconsistency. Because I'm like, oh, come be with us. Then why aren't you over in Hong Kong? Why aren't you over there? That's your people. You know what they're fighting for? Free speech, free expression, the ability to have Winnie the Pooh. Okay, it's literally what you're gonna go over there and be like, hey, this guy in America, he said a bad word on a podcast. We should get him too. They'd just be like, they would turn it. They'd be like, let's get him. He's a fucking Asian provocateur. He's a fucking commie. He's a commie. Let's get him. All right. All right. I'm getting riled up. But yeah, because you know why? Because I fucking understand that you know why I'm not over in Hong Kong? Because I'm an American. I have freedom of speech, and I'm not. Thank God I don't live in Hong Kong. If I was in Hong Kong and I lived there, I'd probably be out there. Fuck. Or hiding. Or maybe I'd turn, maybe I'd be a good double agent, be out there being like, yeah, I'm a protester, and then just getting everyone's real faces for the government. I could do that. I could see me doing that. That might kill myself. That's the kind of thing. It's like that's where I'm a bitch, It's like I could probably do the bad thing, but then I can't commit. I'll have this stupid fucking conscience, and I'll be like, oh, the freedom, I can't live with myself, and then I'll just fucking jump off a building or hang whatever. Like, I do something because I couldn't live with me, right? In the end, it'd be all about me. Just like with this fine, I keep calling him the fine Chinese-American gentleman, right? He says, I am attacked. He's attacked for being Chinese, I guess. He's He's oppressed. He's so oppressed. Not as oppressed as the people in Hong Kong, and definitely not as oppressed. Like, if you asked a little factory worker, hey, you want to be out protesting, fighting the cops? It might be a toss-up. Like a factory worker? I mean, overall, well, if you ask the protesters, they probably wouldn't want factory work. The factory workers, some of them would probably be like, yeah, I don't want to lose this job. But a lot of them would be like, fuck yeah, I'm going to get... We're going to try to overthrow this shit? Okay, fine, fuck it. But, I don't know. I mean, once the Chinese send in the army, ooh, Dougie. I mean, it's crazy. Right now, it's just melee. 3-month-long melee. How long is this going to fucking go? What are they going to do? I mean, all eyes are on them, but I think the Chinese are smart, and they're like, if we let this go for months and let it blow over and then we move it, maybe that's the way. And meanwhile, what will our fine Chinese-American friend on Twitter do? Right? Well, whose side will he take? He probably has no fucking idea. He probably loves basketball. You know what I'm saying? He probably loves basketball, and, just like... All right. Anyway, that's the thing. All right? We're all complicit. We're all guilty here. If there's hell below, we're all going to go. Okay? So just get off your fucking high horses. Get off of them. Get off of them. Stop pointing those fingers. All right? You want to improve some shit? Improve yourself. Stop fucking doing whatever it is you think other people should stop doing. Lead by example. Okay? Don't go around trying to take people's money. Trying to take dick riding off of whatever controversies or successes they have, latching yourself onto them like a fucking parasite. Don't do that. That's fucking lame. That's lame. No wonder no one likes you. I bet this dude thinks girls don't like him because he's Asian. And meanwhile, he acts like a whiny little bitch, and that is so not hot. You know what I'm saying? That's not attractive. It has nothing to do with being Asian. You could be an ugly Asian dude with tons of fucking confidence and fucking, and just be charming, and he would get a lot of pussy. Not that that's what he wants, but I just feel like that I know a lot of guys, Asian guys. I used to be one who are like, yeah, it's because I'm Asian. That's fucking dumb. It's dumb. That's just being a little bitch. Just fucking, are you kidding? Look around. Just take a look. Guys get girls out of their league all the time. All right. Anyway, just don't be a whiny bitch. Don't be a fucking snitch or a rat or try to fucking, you know what I mean? Just fucking have some balls. I'm watching a lot of Sopranos. I think that's what's going on. But just have some fucking, I don't know, self-respect and just understand that you're guilty. We're all guilty. Okay? Going around pointing fingers. Fucking, the goodness comes from within. Okay? You're not gonna find it out there. Not fighting for goodness by taking down other people. It's fucking dumb. Okay? What are you doing? Right? What are you doing? What am I doing? I am on Twitter and on Instagram, so follow me. I'm doing this podcast. Go on Apple, Stitcher, and whatever the fuck. Libsyn. Find me there. Download my shit. Hey, maybe I'll get to a point where I can do a Patreon. If I'm up in the hundreds or whatever, the thousands, I could then I'd ask for $1 or $5, Like, I could do that. I don't think that's going to happen just yet, or it's really, there's no point. Well, maybe I'll get advertising. I won't get advertising. I mean, I might one day. Hey, maybe something will come of this. Maybe this will be weaponized and used against me. One can only hope. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Until next time.